Excuse me. Questions you came across on the homework? Anything you'd like to go over? So, a few things for this week. Once we get done with this, I have a review assignment worksheet we're going to give out. I'm supposed to quiz tomorrow, but I can't. I can't do it. I got to move it a day. Yeah. Is that all right? Any of you going to cry yourself to sleep if I move it a day? Okay. If you do, it's a good thing football season's over. Tears of joy. Tears of joy. All right. So, Andy, we had gone over a lot of the problems from 387 on the top stuff, the 9 through 34, the 39, the 35 through 53 odd, 55 through 76. Was there anything you wanted me to go over any more on that? All right, so can I go over the second part, the 387, 79 through 86? So the top was given on Thursday, the bottom was given on Friday. All right, so let's take a look at number 79. We're talking about graphing these. The function at x is equal to 3 raised to the x. And then the inverse, which is log base 3 of x. Okay. So, if I were to graph this, can I plug negative values in? I graph that. Red circle. So negative values will work? Yeah, I mean, what's going to happen if I plug a negative value in? It becomes 1/3 raised to a power. So if I had -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, I could easily plug those values in and graph them. So if I plug -1 in, I'd get 3 to the -1, which is just 1/3. If I plug 0 in, I'd get 3 to the 0, which is 1. If I plug 1 in, I'd get 3 to the first, which is just 3. And I could easily plot those 3 points, and I don't need to plot everything. But so -1, 1/3 is about here, 0, 1 is about here, and then 1, 3 is up here. So this particular graph looks like that. So what would our domain appear to be? What does our domain appear to be? So go forever left, right, up, down? Yeah. Is it forever left, right? Yes. So our domain, we're going to go from negative to positive infinity. What does it appear my range is doing, though? Good. It's starting right around 0. And it's going to positive infinity. I'm making a rounded bracket because it's not going to get there. It's not going to cross the x-axis. It's not going to touch it. It's just going to approach it. So theoretically, if I had my inverse, I could flip-flop my domain and range as a start. But if I flip-flop my domain and range as a start, that means that my domain of my inverse has to have a restriction of 0 to infinity. And then my range has to also go from 0 to infinity. My range can't be any looser. But how would I graph this? Especially if I don't have a calculator in my hand. Some things. Yeah. Do what? So convert it. So I can make it this. So maybe I could go this way. So 3 raised to the y is equal to x. That's called exponential form, which the shell method works. I could do that. If I plug values in without a calculator, what do I not have to know that is equal to? What does the x have to be equal to if it's log base 3? It has to be 3 of some power. Okay, good. So let's think about it. Can I go 3 to the -1? Would that work? If I plug 3 to the negative 1 in right here, what do I get as an answer? Negative 1. So what is 3 to the negative 1? It's 1/3. So this would yield me the point 1/3 comma negative 1. Okay, so let's see. 1/3 negative 1. Is that okay? What about if I plugged 3 to the 0 in? What is my answer going to result into being? 1. So what is 3 to the 0 power? What? 1. So 1 comma 1. What about 3 to the 1st? What would my answer yield? 1. So this would 3 to the 1st is 3, so I get 3 comma 1. Oops. You know what? This is supposed to be 0. I'm sorry. 1 comma 0. So this point should be down here. Sorry about goofing up. Monday morning mess up. So this is what this one's going to look like. Okay, so what does the domain appear to be doing there? What does it appear it won't cross? The y-axis, good. So my domain of this is going from 0 to infinity, and as I said, we basically can flip-flop our x and y-axis, our domain and range of our original. So does the range appear to be negative infinity to positive infinity? I think it does. So I'd say our range could be negative to positive infinity. Now, as far as this quiz and this test will go for this unit, I'm going to say we could probably stick with that okay, because we're able to justify it graphically to work. But I'm going to tell you this. Later on in math class, whatever this restriction is, has to be the restriction of the inverse. Okay, so our inverse should have a range of this. So 0 to infinity, our range should go from here to here as far as the graph goes. It should not include any more. Okay, and the reason is, this is called, if I do the one that's in green with the red, this would mean that our function and its inverse are one-to-one and onto. Right now, if I had the purple and the red, they're one-to-one. Okay? So that's just a term that you might hear later. Again, as far as what this class is going to offer, you take it to right here, and don't always say, oh, I can always flip-flop it, because sometimes I might have undefined values. So for right now, I think you're okay with that, but I'd really strongly recommend that you graph first, take a look at it, make sure it works out, go from there. Can I move on to the next problem? 81 or 80? 81, 80. 80. So let's see what number 80 says. Number 80 is going to be done the same way, except they're doing log base 4 of x, and then its inverse is 4 to the x. Number 81 is going to be done the same way, where you have log of x. If you have log by itself, what's its base? 10, okay. And then 10 to the x. Then I want to go to 82. 82, you're dealing with e to the x. For 82, you're dealing with function at x is equal to e to the x. And then function at negative x is equal to natural log of x. And if I were to say to do this without a calculator, we got to be smart about it. Okay? So, if I would do this one in red, I do -1, 0, and 1, I think I can still do that. E to the -1 is 1 over E, and I will tell you that E is about 2.7. So this will become 1 over 2.7. So about 1/3. Okay? E to the 0 is going to give us 1, and then E to the first is going to give us about 2.7. So recognize that E to the first power is 2.7. And how did I get 1 over 2.7? Well, it's 1 to the E to the -1. So I can graph this pretty easily. So -1, and then 1/3, then 0 and comma 1, and then 1 and 2.7. E to the x looks very similar to the log, which it should, because e to the x is an exponential. Log deals with exponents, the same terminology. The domain of this appears to be negative to positive infinity, and the range appears to be 0 to infinity. So then we have to get into natural log. How would you do a natural log without? Natural log is the same as what log? Log base what of x? Log base e of x. So you have to know that this is the same thing as log base e of x. That's the definition of natural log. Let's see. If I were to take -1 and plug it in, I'd get log base e of -1, which is natural log of -1. Somebody plug that into your calculator and tell me what you get. ln -1. Doesn't let me. Okay? So, if I were to try and plug this in, if I plug -1 in, this does not exist. What about natural log of 0? ln 0. Huh? Is it 1? Confirm? Okay, calculator, just give us ln 0. Doesn't exist. ln of 1. Zero. ln of 2. Oh, I gotta squeeze it. 0.69. It's about 0.7. Okay. So -1 doesn't work. 0 doesn't work. 1 comma 0. 2 comma 0.7. What do you notice about this graph? Domain. 1 to infinity. Square bracket or not? Yep. And the reason it's a square bracket is because I can plug 1 in and I do get 0 out. And then 2 comma 0.7. So what does my range appear to be? 0 to infinity. And again, I can go square bracket to infinity. So the domain of the original offers a lot. The domain here is really restricted. The range is a little bit restricted. On the first one, on the red one, on the second one, it includes 0. So that should work. A little different? All right, so for the last ones, it says, for each of the following functions, briefly describe how the graph can be obtained from the graph of a basic logarithmic function, then graph the function, give the domain and vertical asymptote of each function. So 83, we have function at x is equal to log base 2 of x plus 3. I guess we could, I will tell you that this is going to shift which way for the parent function? Left. Why? Yeah. It's going to shift to the left. Okay, so how could you do this problem if you had no calculator in hand? What do you need to be inside the bracket in order for it to work? Nice work. Power of 2. All right. So if I were to plug, well, let's start with negative 2. I'll get to 0 in a second. If I plug negative 2 in, I get log base 2 of 1. And what did I say? Log base whatever of 1 is equal to every time? 0. So that's going to work. So what's going to be something else that's going to get me a base of 2 in there? What value would I plug in for x? 1? Would negative 1 give me a base 2? Yeah. So negative 1 plus 3 is 2. Log base 2 of 2 is equal to what? 1. Okay. If I plug 0 in, I'm going to get 3 out. That's not going to help me. But if I plug 1 in, I get 4 out. How do I make 4 into base 2 form? 2 squared. So what is the result here? 2. Let's go with one more value. See if we can plug something in. Can I plug 5? Oh, I like it. 5 gives me 8 inside. 8 is what in base 2? 2 to the third, so my answer here is going to be 3. Okay, so base 2 is 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. So this is 2 to the first, 2 to the second, 2 to the third, 2 to the fourth, 2 to the fifth. So that's what we were aiming towards on that. All right, so let's graph it. Let's see what we're going to get. So I get negative 2, 0. I get negative 1, 1. 1, 2. And then 5, 3. Question for you. What's it going to do? Is it going to start coming down? I need to know. Is it going to do this? No. Can I have log 0? Try it on your calculator. Just go log 0. Tell me what happens. Error? Log of a negative. Does it work? So, is the red going to exist? Is there a vertical asymptote that we're approaching with the red, or does it start just there at negative 2, 0? Can my log become a fraction or a decimal? So let's say we plug negative 2.5 in, which is going to give me log base 2 of 0.5. And change of base would say that I would go log 0.5 divided by log 2. So on your calculator, I go log 0.5, close parentheses, divided by log 2, parentheses. So that's using the change of base form. What do I get? Negative 1? So you said we plug negative 2.5 in, right? So that's negative 3. So we're going to get there. What if I plugged in negative 2.99999? So that's going to give me log base 2 of 0.5. 0.0001. So go log 0.001, close parentheses, divided by log 2. What do you get? So what I'm continuing to do is I'm taking log base A of B is equal to log B over log A. This is change of base on the calculator. So what was log 0.0001 divided by log 2? Negative what? 9.9? Okay. Yeah, let's see what we can do. So if I plug negative 2.999 in, that's going to yield me, if I plug that in there, 0.0001. So you're going to go log 0.0001, so 1/10,000, divided by log 2. No? Yes? What'd you get? Let's take a look. What'd you get? Oh, I see what you're doing. So yours is going to allow you to do change of base. So here is I want to stay champion. Are you trying to talk to me about gotcha. Yeah. School just so on this, I would do 2, and then here would be
I don't hit the slopes anymore. I haven't hit the slopes since the slug. It's no longer a white Christmas.
Okay. So does the red exist or not? Does this portion of the graph exist? Yes. So what value do you think this is as a vertical asymptote? X equals -3. So my vertical asymptote is x equals -3. Okay? What is my domain of this function going to be? What? -3, positive infinity. Excuse me. And the range is going to go from -infinity to positive infinity. There you go. So 84 is done the same way. 85. The whole thing's just gonna shift down. We're okay. All right, let's pass these in. I'm gonna give you a review sheet. This is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna allow you the rest of the period to work on this review sheet. Please ask me questions. Tomorrow we'll go over the entire review sheet, make sure we're good with it. So Monday, I'm giving you the review sheet. Tuesday, we will go over all of it. So you have the rest of the period to work on it now. Wednesday, we will do a quiz over those sections. The quiz was supposed to be tomorrow. I just don't have it in my heart to hit you with that yet.